Breaking news. BIIPD officer Roger Wilson and his wife were attacked in their apartment by an intruder. Authorities predict this to be a retaliation of a recent case by syndicate members, after Officer Roger had given witness against an informant within the BIIPD, another fellow officer who had been revealing confidential information to the syndicate. The officer was sentenced to 20 years' time. Unfortunately, Officer Roger's wife was shot fatally, but his infant daughter was unharmed, and he himself survived being shot in the shoulder. This is the Tooth Fairy case. The perpetrator targeted people while they were in a vulnerable state, often intoxicated, and painfully extracted their teeth before taking their lives and discarding their bodies. During investigation, it was found one of BIIPD's officers, Lewis Wilson, was the culprit. He was given a life sentence, however. I believe he was only framed, since the crimes continued after his death. "16 years have passed since the devastating event in Roger's life. Now he is a senior officer at the BII Police Department. He is an expert in investigation and trained junior officers how to solve difficult cases. His life seemed simple and settled now, but deep down inside, Roger is a scarred man. Being left with his infant daughter after the death of his wife brought a major change in his life. He moved to a secure neighborhood and bought a small house, and a year after, he had gotten married again and dedicated himself to his work, trying to move on until he reached this point of his life. Around 10 p.m., he reached home, took out his keys, and went to open the door. When he realized the door was unlocked. Concerned, he hurried inside, shocked to see his entire house had been ransacked. His wife and daughter was missing. Roger immediately checked the security cameras, but all the footage had been erased and the whole system had been damaged. He looked to and fro, trying to pick up a clue, when he noticed a note sticking to a family picture of his. "If you want to see your family again, meet me at the lighthouse." Roger instantly knew who it was. Sean? "17 years ago, Roger Wilson was a far different man from what he is today. Happily married to the love of his life, Grace, just having his first child, Emily. At the time, he had been working for the BIIPD for a few years, and Sean Reed was his fellow partner who had become a close friend as well. Together, they solved many cases, went on raids, and assisted in shutting down syndicates. But Roger was the type of person, lighthearted and funny, always cracking jokes and making others laugh, even when solving the most difficult of cases. "Man, we look like turtles wearing this." "Dude, we're in the middle of a raid and you're still cracking jokes? You know something could actually happen with us, right?" "Yeah, people could think we're Ninja Turtles. I'm Michelangelo. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles." No. If we're Ninja Turtles, I'm Michelangelo." "But dude, I'm the funny one, and you're the serious one. You should be Raphael." "No, I'm Michelangelo." "Alright, I'll be Leonardo." "Yeah, like I'll let you be Leonardo." "So you want to be Michelangelo and Leonardo? And what does that leave me with, Raphael and Donatello? You have to be the hero all the time?" "Yes, Boy Wonder." "What? Now I'm Robin and you're Batman? Dude, this isn't fair." "There they are! Roger, get out of the way!" As Sean fell to the ground, Roger rushed to him, devastated. "Don't worry, buddy. Hang on with me. Everything's gonna be fine." Roger immediately called the backup, but by the time the paramedics arrived, Sean was battling for his life. "He's lost tremendous blood. If we can't get a transfusion soon, he won't survive." That night, Roger donated his blood and stayed with Sean at the hospital, waiting for him to regain his consciousness. Roger, what happened? Are you okay? I heard there was an accident. Yeah, I'll be staying at the hospital tonight. Sean got injured, saving my life. Roger, man, I don't know how to thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today. Dude, you took the bullet for me. You saved my life. I was supposed to be in your place. Since then, Roger and Sean's friendship strengthened, and Sean became like family to him. While he was recovering in the hospital, Grace often brought over food and visited him. Thank you so much for what you've done. I'll always be grateful to you. After Sean was discharged, Grace continued to care for him at his house. And oftentimes, he too dropped by Roger's place to watch the game or to have dinner. Not again. It's Grace. If I pick up, she's gonna give me another lecture. I can't do this. Dude, no. If you cut the call, she's gonna call me. Sorry, dude. Hello? Sean, Roger's not picking up. Is he okay? You know how he is. He doesn't pick up my calls either. He's always with you. Why would he call you? Right. I gotta go, Grace. Talk to you later. Bye. Dude, you shouldn't have pissed her off. Told you it was better not to pick up. Now you have to deal with her. The days were going by well. Every now and then, Roger and Sean would go out to the lighthouse by the shore and just sit there, talking about everything going on in their lives. It was during this time that a new officer was hired at their department, Ava Burns. She was a special officer assigned to investigate and expose any informants within the system. It was one night that Roger and Sean had arrested a syndicate member and were bringing him back to the precinct. The man was extremely boastful and kept insulting both of them. You can do nothing to me. You all are dogs living on our biscuits. Your own department's officer will protect me, and if he doesn't, I'll take him down with me. At the moment, Roger controlled his rage because he needed to get information about this man. When they reached the precinct, they found all other officers were out on an operation, and it would only be Sean and Roger who would be there. However, it was later that night that the man was found lifeless in his cell. The death was ruled as an accident, though under suspicion. But a few days later, Roger was shocked to find out Sean had been arrested with charges of being the informant himself. The case was soon taken to court, where Roger, Sean's partner, was called to give witness. Officer Roger Wilson, I believe Sean Reed was your partner and a good friend of yours. Yes. During investigation, a bank account has been found under Mr. Reed's name in which he had made several transactions between syndicate members. Were you aware of this? No. Have you ever witnessed any suspicious behavior? No. The night one of the syndicate members had died in the precinct, who was there? It was only Sean and I. The other officers were out on an operation. Who was the last on-call officer? The man kept on insulting us, saying he knew the informant and would expose him. It was later that night I heard a commotion from the cell. The only other person there was Sean. After all evidence and witnesses were taken into consideration, the court ruled Sean Reed as guilty and sentenced to 20 years' time. I saved your life and you betrayed me. You're a liar, Roger. You're a liar. You're framing me. We found him dead together. Late that night, it had begun to rain, but Roger drove out by the shore and walked all the way to the lighthouse, where he found Ava and Emily on their knees, their hands tied, and Sean waiting for him. They let you go 4 years ahead of time? Roger said, about to take out his gun. Sean immediately took out his and pointed it at Emily. Put your gun down, Senior Officer Roger. As Roger backed out, Ava shouted at Sean, Sean, you won't be able to get away with this. Get away with this? What did I get away with? What was my fault? You don't know what your fault was? What was my fault? I didn't take any innocent life. I didn't do anything. I am innocent, and you know that. Maybe it's time everyone else knows too. Tell Ava the truth, or I'll throw Emily. Innocent? You aren't innocent. You know what you did. "17 years ago, when Officer Ava Burns joined the BIIPD, Sean had an instant crush on her. Dude, I think I found the love of my life. But she doesn't even look at me. You know how you can get her obsessed with you? How? Give her clues that you're the informant of the syndicate, and then she'll roam around you all the time. Smart. So Sean began messing with Ava, always behaving suspiciously around her. Oh, I have a phone call. I'll be right back. Excuse me, another call. May I be excused? I have an urgent call. Becoming suspicious, Ava went to question Roger. I've been noticing Sean has been on his phone lately. Do you know who he talks with? I don't know. He doesn't have any family members. He lives all by himself and I'm his only friend. Who else could he talk with? The friends led Ava on, and she started to take interest in Sean to investigate him. But Sean kept on flirting with her. Soon she realized Sean didn't have any connection with the informant, and he did all this only to lure her. But at the same time, she started to build a soft spot for him. Roger, where is Sean? It's like you can't find him anywhere. He's not picking up his phone. Sean is on cloud number 9 these days with the new officer, Ava Burns. Initially, Grace had been taking care of Sean out of her gratitude. But as they started to become close, and Roger being emotionally unavailable for her, she found her support in Sean. And through these interactions, one thing led to another, and before they themselves realized, Grace and Sean began cheating behind Roger's back. But it was one day while Roger was at home. He was babysitting Emily one evening when he went to make a call, but he found the phone was engaged. Grace was speaking to someone. You were supposed to meet me, but you didn't come or even call me. I was busy, and lately I've been thinking, what we're doing is wrong. We can't do this anymore. Roger is my best friend. After all these months, you remembered Roger as your best friend? Or you finally realized because of that new female officer you've been seeing? Roger couldn't believe the woman he loved could cheat on him, and the best friend he trusted could stab him in the back. Discovering such betrayal shattered his world. And he began to plot revenge. He was the one who snitched, sending information to the syndicate under Sean's name. He then created a bank account under his name and accepted the transactions from them. At the same time, it was him who directed Ava towards the clues so she would suspect Sean. And lastly, the night they had arrested the syndicate member. In all the hustle, when they locked the man in the cell, it was Roger who had lethally injected him before Sean could realize, or the man himself, and expose Roger for being the informant. How could you? I saved your life, and you betrayed me. You're a liar, Roger. You're a liar. I'm a liar? Or you? She was emotionally vulnerable. I trusted you, and you took advantage of her. You knew? After Roger got his revenge on Sean, he then sought revenge on his wife. Roger, let's spend a day at home together. All of a sudden you've gotten interest in fixing up our relationship? What? Now that Sean has finally left you for another woman, now you remember your husband? Roger, I'm sorry. Sorry isn't good enough. That night, it was Roger who had taken Grace's life and edited his apartment's security footage and set it up in a way so it seemed that someone had intruded, but it was him all along. He then shot himself, called the police, and put on an act in front of the media as if he were the victim, the innocent police officer who had given witness against his best friend for justice and lost his wife in retaliation. But Roger's plan didn't end there. After Sean had been arrested, Ava broke down. I still can't believe it. You have to accept the truth and move on. It was in Ava's vulnerability that Roger consoled her, and down the line married her. But in truth, he had only done so out of his rage for Sean. Ava and Emily were shocked knowing the truth. Roger, how could you? Dad, you took Mom's life? Yes, I did. But you call yourself innocent? You aren't innocent. And neither was Grace. You both betrayed my trust. You scarred me in a way that I'll never be happy again. Sean fell quiet as he took out a knife and cut the ties off Ava and Emily. Before he took out a recorder. Ava, I loved you before, and I still love you now. I only did all this to make him confess, and I give you the evidence. Do what you think is right. Ava looked at it for a while before she threw it into the crashing waves on the rocks below. Ava, what did you do? Sean, you didn't betray the police department, but you did ruin Roger's family. But what Roger did was far worse. Roger, I had so much respect for you, and throughout the years, I fell in love with you. But after knowing all this, I can't be with a man I can't respect. With that, Ava turned to Emily. Emily, come with me. Taking her stepdaughter, Ava left, leaving Roger and Sean all alone by the lighthouse, where betrayal and hatred had brought them. 16 years later, where they once used to share their thoughts as best friends. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.